So we've been reporting on a possible second Trump-Kim summit for months now. And then the North Korean leader does something to break the diplomatic silence. He heads to China. Now, you might think this isn't a breakthrough where the US is concerned, but in fact this could be the trigger we've been waiting for. I'm Alex Jensen for Korea Now's K-News Today. Remember last year, before the North's chairman Kim Jong-un met South Korean President Jae-in for the first time? He'd just gone to China. And then, shortly before he held that unprecedented summit with US President Donald Trump in Singapore last June, he also paid a visit to China. And he went to Beijing just after meeting Trump too. The point being, the story of 2018 tells us that visiting China could well be an important indicator that Chairman Kim is about to do something interesting with South Korea or the US. That could mean Kim visiting Seoul, as he previously vowed to do. But it could also signal a forthcoming Trump summit, if we accept that last year's pattern may be repeated. And recall that a few weeks back, Trump said 3 locations were being considered for a second meeting with Kim, likely by February. So, if anything, this week's development suggests the American president's timeline is on track. As for where, we're still being kept guessing. Trump recently added that they are negotiating a location, also telling reporters that it will be announced, probably in the not-too-distant future. The question remains, admittedly, what can we expect from such a summit? Certainly there will be pressure on Trump to clarify an actual plan for North Korea's denuclearization. He himself seems to be optimistic, insisting, due to the absence of provocations lately, that they're doing very well and that they have a very good dialogue going. But this China factor is also interesting against the backdrop of ongoing trade tensions between Washington and Beijing. They appear to be extending their rivalry into various other spheres. A new space race, perhaps, a battle for Chairman Kim's attention. The reality, of course, is that cooperation with China rather than competition is going to be vital for a successful path towards North Korea's denuclearization. Coordination has so far been too fragmented between China and the North this week, between the Koreas here and there, between the South and the US pretty regularly, but not focused enough. We know the North wants a peace treaty and an end to sanctions, but can the various parties agree on a roadmap? Well, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo believes real progress is possible, even if he admitted last week that there is lots of work that is left to be done. There have been a few interesting opinions raised in South Korea over the last few days. For example, there's a consensus among government officials and experts that Kim's China trip is a positive, especially so early in the year, which is historically unusual. Seoul's presidential office also said it hopes the exchange between China and North Korea will contribute to the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula and establishment of lasting peace. South Korea also seems to be aiming to maintain ties with China, saying it's been kept in the loop by both China and North Korea, while also expressing hope that this week's diplomacy can lead to a second US-North Korea summit and a virtuous circle, rather than the fragmentation I described before. The US will have to be ready for that virtuous circle to additionally lead to a possible first visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to North Korea this year, the 70th anniversary of Pyongyang-Beijing ties. Perhaps, though, the US should be looking to itself for answers. Another compelling view from South Korea recently came from a security policy advisor, Jong-un. He said during the popular Galileo podcast talk show that the US believes things should be done on its own terms. But from South Korea's perspective, however, the US is not always right. Now that kind of puts mildly what we might expect to be the case. But he added that there are issues that can be settled smoothly when South Korea takes the initiative, blaming the lack of trust between Washington and Pyongyang. That's the way things are for now. And Moon Jong-in put forward his solution. The Yonsei University professor said a breakthrough may emerge should the North take bold action and the US partially lift sanctions at the same time. in what might be seen as a clear message ahead of a possible second Trump-Kim summit, Moon said they need to take action rather than just exchanging verbal pledges. And there we have it. From an advisor to the South Korean president, the challenge that will hopefully be met in the next month or so.